Imagine your morning routine, starting with the comforting aroma of freshly brewing coffee, the gentle hiss of the kettle, the rich scent filling your kitchen, and that first warm sip that signals the start of a new day. For millions, this ritual is more than just a habit. It's a cherished moment of peace, a daily anchor in a busy world. But now, imagine that simple pleasure suddenly under threat. Picture reaching for your favorite blend, only to find the pot empty, the shelves bare, and uncertainty brewing in the air. What if your daily cup was no longer guaranteed? A geopolitical storm is brewing, and at its very center is that humble cup of coffee. Forces far beyond your kitchen are converging, threatening to disrupt the global flow of beans that fuel our mornings. Recently, a massive international trade deal was signed, one that notably excludes the United States. Behind closed doors, world leaders and business titans have redrawn the lines of global commerce. This isn't just about business or economics. It's about shifting global power and how those changes ripple into the lives of ordinary people. The fate of your morning coffee is now tied to decisions made in distant boardrooms and government halls. At the heart of this upheaval is a $12 billion agreement between Brazil, the world's largest coffee producer, and Canada. This deal redirects vast shipments of Brazilian beans away from the US, sending them north instead. The result? The entire coffee trade map of North America is being rewritten. New routes are forming, old alliances are breaking, and the US is being left out in the cold. For the United States, the world's largest coffee consumer, this spells a looming supply crisis. Cafes, supermarkets, and homes across the country are already feeling the pinch as imports dwindle and prices begin to climb. The Great American Coffee Cutoff has begun. Beloved local coffee shops are closing their doors, and the familiar clink of mugs is fading from morning routines. This is a story of high-stakes politics, international maneuvering, and the surprising power of a simple bean. Behind every cup, there are negotiations, rivalries, and the fate of entire economies. It's a story every coffee drinker needs to understand, because it's not just about coffee. It's about how global events can reach into our homes and change the fabric of our daily lives. The consequences will be felt everywhere, in bustling cafes, on grocery store shelves, and in the quiet moments of kitchens around the world. The brewing storm is here, and its impact is just beginning. To truly grasp the depth of the current crisis, we need to look back at the roots of a relationship that has shaped the morning routines of millions of Americans for generations. Coffee isn't just a drink in the United States. It's a ritual, a comfort, and a symbol of productivity. And for over 100 years, much of that daily cup has come from one place: Brazil. The US-Brazil coffee relationship is more than just trade. It's a story of mutual dependence and trust. American demand fueled Brazil's rise as the world's coffee powerhouse, while Brazil's vast plantations ensured Americans always had access to affordable, quality beans. Brazil, often called the king of coffee, has been the backbone of America's coffee supply for over a century. Generations of Brazilian farmers have worked the land, harvesting beans destined for American mugs. This partnership created a reliable, steady flow of coffee, keeping prices low and shelves stocked, even during times of global uncertainty. But recently, this balance was shattered. New US tariffs on Brazilian coffee sent shockwaves through the industry, disrupting a system that had worked for decades. These tariffs made Brazilian beans suddenly expensive and uncompetitive in the American market, forcing importers to look elsewhere. In Brazil, the move was seen as an economic attack, sparking outrage among officials and farmers alike. The sense of betrayal ran deep. The impact was immediate and severe. Coffee exports to the US plummeted by a staggering 75%, leaving Brazilian ports eerily quiet and warehouses full. American importers, desperate to keep up with demand, scrambled to find new suppliers in countries like Vietnam and Colombia, shifting the global coffee landscape overnight. The message was unmistakable. The old way of doing business was gone, replaced by uncertainty and new alliances. In response, Brazil began forging new partnerships, signing trade deals with countries like Canada, and seeking fresh markets for its beans. The foundation of a century-old friendship was now cracked, with trust and cooperation replaced by suspicion and competition. Brazil's bold response would not only reshape its own future, but forever alter the flow of coffee around the globe, sending ripples through every cup poured from New York to Tokyo. With the US door closed, Brazil turned to Canada. A $12 billion trade agreement was signed. Brazil's premium coffee beans will now flow to Canada. This deal is a lifeline for Brazil and a coup for Canada. Canada becomes the new coffee hub of North America. The US is now on the outside looking in. American companies scramble for alternatives. The Brazil-Canada Pact bypasses the US. It signals a new era of economic alliances. Brazil secured its future, and Canada seized an opportunity. The US faces a self-inflicted supply crisis. The coffee market has been fundamentally realigned. For millions of Americans, the impact of this global coffee crisis is about to hit home in a very real way, right in the wallet. What might seem like a distant geopolitical chess match is actually something you'll feel every time you reach for your morning brew or stop by your favorite cafe. The era of cheap, abundant coffee is quickly coming to an end. Shelves that once overflowed with affordable options are now looking sparse, and the prices you see are climbing higher with each passing week. Experts warn that retail prices could surge by 30 to 40%, a jump that will be hard to ignore for anyone who relies on coffee to start their day. That $5 latte you used to enjoy on your way to work? It might soon become a $7 indulgence, forcing many to reconsider their daily habits or cut back altogether. American coffee roasters are scrambling to find alternatives, testing new blends and sourcing beans from different regions. But the transition isn't easy or immediate. While countries like Colombia and Vietnam are ramping up production, they simply can't replace Brazil's massive output overnight. The global supply chain is stretched thin, and shortages are inevitable. As demand spikes and supply tightens, prices are being driven up not just in the US, but around the world. Coffee auctions are more competitive than ever, and shipping costs are adding to the squeeze. For consumers, this means tough choices at the store. Do you pay more for your favorite brand or settle for a different blend that fits your budget? The balance between quality and affordability is now front and center, with many forced to compromise on taste or price. America's heavy reliance on Brazilian coffee has made the situation even more precarious, amplifying the effects of shortages and price hikes. Buying coffee is no longer a mindless routine. It's becoming a calculated decision, with shoppers budgeting carefully and weighing every purchase. Now, global politics and international trade deals are directly shaping what ends up in your cup each morning, making the world feel a little smaller and a lot more connected. The simple act of buying coffee has become a daily reminder of how interconnected our lives are, and how even the smallest pleasures can be shaped by forces far beyond our control. This crisis isn't just about coffee, it's about geopolitics. Brazil's ties with China have grown stronger. The US tariffs were a message to Brazil about China. The strategy backfired, pushing Brazil away. Brazil asserted its sovereignty, diversifying partnerships. The Brazil-Canada deal is a shift in global order. Middle power countries seek new alliances. The US miscalculated Brazil's resilience. Tariffs failed to curb China's influence. The US faces unintended consequences. The coffee industry became a pawn in a global game. Brazil's strategic pivot reduced US dependence. The Canada deal secures Brazil's coffee future. Brazil pursues other markets, like the EU and Asia. Countries like China and Japan are new targets. Brazil positions itself as a primary supplier. This rewires the global coffee economy. New trade routes emerge from Brazil to Canada and Asia. Brazil's move is a declaration of economic independence. Other nations may follow Brazil's lead. The US dominance in the Western Hemisphere erodes. Brazil reshapes its place in the global economy. The Brazil-Canada deal sends ripples globally. American companies scramble for alternative beans. Colombia sees a surge in US demand. Other countries face rising costs and competition. European roasters feel the pressure. The global coffee map is more fragmented. Winners include Colombia and Canada. US consumers face higher prices and quality changes. The coffee market enters a volatile era. Strategic alliances redefine trade routes. The stability of the coffee market is shattered. Global politics and trade now shape your coffee experience. Experts weigh in on the crisis. Dr. Isabella Rossi calls it an avoidable crisis. The US misread Brazil's position. The Brazil-Canada deal is strategic diplomacy. James Chen describes a logistical nightmare. Companies scramble for new contracts. Prices are astronomical. Costs will rise. North Star Economics highlights a new trade corridor. The US loses its central role in hemispheric trade. Maria Gonzalez says coffee becomes a luxury. Consumers must adjust expectations. Prices will rise, and this is the new normal. The specialty coffee boom era is over. The coffee crisis is a wake-up call. It exposes global supply chain fragility. The US inflicted a wound on its economy. Higher prices and reduced quality are key consequences. Brazil pivots to new partners like Canada and Asia. The US dominance in the Americas is challenged. Consumers must stay informed about trade shifts. Supporting diverse coffee sources builds resilience. The coffee industry must adapt with innovation. The stable coffee supply era is over. We face a new reality shaped by global politics. Navigate this new world, one cup at a time.